You trying to sell everything.
But you can't boycott Amazon. Oh yeah, that's in the Instagram.
Back in 2020 when COVID happened and everywhere was out of toilet paper. And so I said, fuck it, I'm just going to not wipe, I guess. And I realized that it really didn't make much of a difference. I've always struggled with body odor, and no matter what I do, I always just smell. I guess my pheromones are really strong. So the smell doesn't bother me. As far as getting yeast infections, I really don't mind those either because I've learned that I can experiment with them. I've made cinnamon rolls. I've made bread.
Girl, Paul, send that to her. That bitch said that raggedy bitch said she made cinnamon roll. Ladies and gentlemen, I need for y'all to stop what y'all doing right now. I need for y'all to stop what y'all doing right now in the midst of this motherfucking chat and welcome our special guest all the way down from the CNN.
God damn it.
From the CNN. God damn it, from the CNN, motherfucker. Put our first guest up there.
Here we go.
Hey, boo. Hey, Don.
Hey, baby, how are you? Can you hear me?
Don.
Yeah,
Yes, we can.
You finally made
I'm
it.
at a conference. I'm at a conference. I stepped out. I'm actually in Spotify conference, and I'm sitting in the conference on like trying to get information on how to improve this thing, and I'm listening to you guys. And I'm so glad that you talked that people mention because it is, and nowhere in the Bible does it talk about homosexuality in the way that people write it. It's never where it says explicitly that marriage is between a man and a woman. It references husbands and wives. People need to read. All right. And it's all in the interpretation. Anyway, sorry, that's my rant. Hi, I love you guys. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Don, so let's talk about it
great.
real quick. What were your initial feelings when you saw that the seven flips of the seven battleground states all went red? Did you not say to yourself, like, this shit is rigged up?
I was thinking, how could this happen? But I don't know if you guys saw my battleground state tour. I was getting a lot of Trump out there, so I kind of was expecting that he would win, as big as it was. But I had some idea, so I wasn't shocked. I was disappointed in the country. The whole idea that it's, let me just tell you guys this. Road like 2020 and become like those guys, the people who are like, oh, this shit is rigged and it's the election was stolen and whatever. I do believe that it should be investigated. And look, I think with the technology that we have with artificial intelligence, I think that they should look conspiracy theorists like the folks from 2020 and sort of that insurrectionist mind thinking. But yeah, that did go through my head like, hey, I'm not saying it happened, but we had a what do you call it? A Starlink satellite thing for us because we were having bad connection. We couldn't get on that night. We couldn't get on our Starlink.
But doesn't Elon Musk own or have some sort of affiliation with Starlink?
He owns it. He owns the satellites.
Correct.
That's part of it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So my thing is, why would they even allow his company to tally up the votes? I don't understand that.
Well, you know why, Craig. Craig, you know why.
He was tallying up the votes. Go ahead, Maddie. I'm sorry.
Craig, you know why they gave. You know why it's all been planned out. Just like everybody talked about when we've been sitting here screaming out for the longest that the gentleman said that he don't know anything about Project 2025. He don't know nothing about it. And everybody that he's appointed is directly associated with Project 2025. Directly associated. So this stuff has already been in plan since when he was in office the first time. They already had put this stuff in place. Like, this is already, and to the people that are around there, like, I don't know what they were hearing when they were having this conversation about, like, well, he didn't mean it like that. How the fuck did he mean it?
Right. Don, I want to know from you though, do you think that the Democrats or even the federal government are working to investigate?
I don't know if they are working to investigate big systems. Look, the way that we do elections in this country is so disparate, not desperate. Maybe it's
Right.
desperate in a way, but there are so many ways that we do it. It would have to really be a coordinated effort to have, every single state and every single municipality and every whatever sort of be on the same thing. There were some places where the tallying or the voting machines are to the Starlink or hooked up to the internet, right? But in many places it is not. And so I don't know if there is a coordinated action that everyone goes back through and they do, their due diligence to figure out if it was correct. I don't think there's anything wrong with a recount. We had
I don't
recounts.
think
You
so either.
guys, we're old enough to remember Al Gore, right, and George Bush. We're old enough to remember 2020. So I don't think there's anything wrong with a recount. I would just say, just don't be so quick to theory. But I do say that it is unusual that on the, when we're in the down ballot, not up ballot, which is the president. If you look at down ballot, many of the Democratic candidates won, but then Kamala Harris lost.
Right.
And unusual.
Yeah, and that was very unusual because there were a lot of ballots that came through where all of the other slots were voted for Democrat, but then the president was voted for Trump. So to me, that just seems a little suspicious. My question to you, though, is: are you concerned at all? Because you were just as vocal about this as we've been over here. Are you concerned about any type of retaliation from him because he's talking about quieting or muzzling the media? Have you thought about? Because I've thought about even leaving the country.
Yeah, look, God, I hate to leave my country, and I hate for you to leave because this is your country as well, and we need people to fight this out. Look, Craig, I'll tell you, I'll answer the first part of your question second. But we come from a long line of very sturdy people who built this country. And so I don't think that you should let anybody to force you to be driven from your country that your ancestors built for free. Okay, to twist it. I remember back in the 80s during Reagan, there was one state, I believe, that was blue for the presidential election. Now, that was a landslide, and that was, I believe. So, I think we're going to be all right, but we're going to have to fight for not only 4 years or 8 years for the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court is going to be around. That's maybe a generation. So don't let folks drive you from your country. But your question was, was I concerned? Yeah, I'm concerned about retaliation. Look at what he's doing now with the Department of Education and with schools, and what he said. Basically, it's reparation for white people. Right?
Yes,
He's going to take funding away if they they teach things in schools that make kids feel bad or that he believes are anti-American, negatively of the country. He doesn't want actual American history, all of this history of this country, taught in schools. He's doing things like that, and then other things. Right. This was Project 2017, which was initiated during the first Trump administration, and then now this is Project 2025, which the folks have said, many of the people involved saying, haha, we lied. Yeah, it is affiliated with the Trump campaign. And if you look at Trump administration propose, it's directly out of the Project 2025 handbook. So
absolutely.
Where's the line?
Yeah, absolutely.
But Don, it's easy for you as a cisgender black man that passes. Like you can pass.
True.
And you have money. Now, Craig and I both, we have money too. But what does that mean for no, I'm just saying, but I'm just being real.
Don and I did have this conversation. I said, Don, you're rich.
Privilege. I get it. That's a real thing.
What does that do
That's
for
a real
me?
thing.
What does that do for me as I'm a black transgender woman that has money, but I'm not a Bruce or Caitlyn Jenner. I'm not a Jenner. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, what does it do for me? Like, what does it do for all the things that I like, especially the things that I have coming up? Like, I'm starting my starter house, the T.S. Madison starter house, where I'm going to be housing girls that are disenfranchised and, ex-sex workers and all this stuff. Like, where does this leave us? Like, how deep in danger are we? Like, do you think that we are?
I think that what you are doing, Maddie, and I commend you for that. And I love it when you say, I'm rich, right? So, but I commend you for what you are doing. And so, right now, this is when we need you the most. This is when you need your starter house the most. This is when you need to members of the LGBTQ plus community, especially members of the trans community. This is when your community needs you the most. And because you have that privilege, you're in a place now when they are going to need it. What if you leave this country? What if you
Yeah.
leave this country, Craig? Then what's going to happen to those folks? And here's what I will say. I'm going to get mad at this, and they have been mad. When I saw members of the Black Lives community back in 2016 during the election shouting down Hillary Clinton at events. Right, going, Black Lives Matter, whatever. Yes, of course, Black Lives Matter. We know that. When I saw them doing that, instead of going to Donald Trump events and shouting, and so you have to realize, all right? So right now in this moment, your allies are the Democratic Party. Those are the folks who are closest to what you who are on your side. So you have to continue to fight and be on their side. I don't believe in political parties. I'm an independent. So look, if the Republican Party was all about the LGBTQ, fight for them. So I'm just saying, right now, the Democrats are the ones who are looking out for members of our community and the underserved community. Their message may not be perfect. Their message can be tweaked, right? It needs to be, they need a little sewing up, right? Their hems or their seams are showing. But I would rather work with that. That is a cult, right? That is leaning into a cult leader and buying into a cult of personality. And frankly, racism and language and I'm not saying it's completely fascist, but fascistic behavior. So stay your allies and stop voting against your own interests. All the people who sat this one out, all the people who vote that in a normal election, look, it is your right. You can do whatever you want. This is a democracy. But in this election, if you voted for a third party candidate, you threw your vote away. You basically, if you sat there and you voted for Donald Trump, hold on, and you voted for Donald Trump, okay? And you are a black and a black woman, a Latino, whatever, you saw some of the numbers are rising in some of those demographics. Then what are you doing? Why are you voting
Yeah.
against your own interests? Remember, this is what people need to remember. The civil rights movement in this country was fought by and for by Black people, but it was fought for immigrants, the Latino community. It was fought for women. It was fought for the underserved community, built on the backs of Black people. And if you did against your own people for that because you wanted some sort of protest vote, or your feelings are hurt because you were a man and you felt like you were losing privilege in society, then you're a damn fool. You voted against own ancestors and your own people who fought for civil rights for all of these groups, and you are going along with the people who fought not to have civil rights in this country. That's it. I'm delicious. I'm through.
And to that point, as far as like affirmative action, white women benefited more than anybody else. That's the conversation that we don't have enough. They benefited the most. I am really concerned about his cabinet choices, though. Especially even who he's put over this mass deportation. And the food in this country is already trash because there are things that they allow, like hazardous things that they allow in the foods here that they don't allow in other countries. And so now they're talking about removing any type of like oversight for that. Like, it's just,
child, they done got Mike Huckabee, Mike tight ass Huckabee down there to the Israel, the ambassador for Israel. Am I right? Because I used to how I know about Mike Huckabee is Miss Mary sits there and watches that goddamn TBN all day, all the time. I done cut that TBN off out of this fucking house. I done cut that TBN out of this house.
Yeah.
Because I watched all those white pastors. I watched those white pastors get deep, left God alone, and got deep into their whiteness.
mm-hmm.
I watched them do it.
Yeah.
I watched the white trainees. I watched the white trainees, the white gays. I watched all the white people get out of their homosexuality and their transness and get deep into their whiteness. I watched them do it.
Mm-hmm.
I watched them.
Have you had to cut off any relationships because of
wow,
how people
you
voted?
guys? Oof. Craig, are you psychic? What the hell is going on with you? When I listen to you guys, we're always, Craig, we have the same sort of take on things, and your level of knowledge is cool on these issues. But you ask me something that is right now very present in my life. So I had a
Yeah.
friend. I had friends in college, and I went to LSU, right? And this was a very diverse college. So I had a lot of friends from different backgrounds, and a lot of them were like white. They're good old boys,
Yeah.
but good old boys who were aware of the meaning of woke. Except one of them got magnetized and almost fell into sort of a QAnon type behavior. Him, from eliminating him from the friend group. Okay, and he was always someone that I kind of was a little bit to me, a member of the community, of our community, but maybe he was a little bit afraid of it. And
Yeah.
so for 2 or 3 years, I really, well, actually, Trump administration had to really, I cut him off because he was exhibiting some racist, conspiratorial behavior. And the rest of them, they all live in Louisiana, and kind of every once in a while they'll speak to him. I got a call from our friend saying, I'll say his name isn't this, but I'll say, John, Jim is in hospice. He has they found a growth on his pancreas or something like that. And now he's in hospice and whatever. So I have someone who I cut off for a while, not because he was a Donald Trump supporter, but because of how deep he was into it.
Mm.
Just how insulting things that he was saying and his beliefs had become. And so now I have to reach out to this person because they're at the end of their life now. His wife, I got to reach out to his wife, who is not very nice to me. I have to be the bigger person because he's dying. Now, there are people who say you don't have to, but I have to do that as, just to be a humane human being. So, I mean, there are people I've had to cut off, and that is my story. I had to cut off, and now that he's dying, who actually, the person who fought against it, thought Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, was ridiculous and was, off of the backs of people who had me. And now he has been on Obamacare and the ACA at the end of his life.
Which Trump tried to roll back, of course.
Yeah.
And I know you're outside of this conference, but I do want to ask you.
Yeah, we can't hold Don. We need Don to get in there and get back in the conference because I know he in there talking the shit that we talk.
I love you guys.
We can't hold Don up like that. God damn it.
Well, we definitely got to have you come back. Like, really.
Don, where you at? You in New York?
In LA.
You're in Los Angeles.
LA,
Am I talking that loud? Oh, okay. Oh, these folks want to talk to me. I'm live now in the show. Say hi.
Hey, how y'all doing? Who y'all voted for? Where you at? Put the phone. Who y'all voted for? Take us over there. Who you niggas voted for?
She wants to know who you voted for. I'm Canadian. She's Canadian. But no comment means.
He said no comment. Bust him in his mouth, Don.
He said it doesn't mean. He said it. I think it doesn't mean Trump. No, he said it doesn't mean Trump.
Vote for Kamala. If you want, vote. There was 1 million votes that went for Jill Stein and the Kennedy. That's 1 million lost votes.
Jill Stein, Kennedy, and then in some places it was West, who I like. But yeah. I know. We should say, yeah. What was your question, Craig?
I want to ask you, what are your thoughts around this whole Letitia James thing? Because they're basically threatening her.
Oh my gosh!
I'm really nervous for her. I'm
nervous for her. I think that, and I know that the rules are different for Black folks, especially Black women in society. I think she made a fatal mistake with her relationship. She's a grown woman. She can date or whoever she wants to. But when you're in that position that you have one of the most important criminal cases in the country world, you have to be more than buttoned up. Now, I am concerned about her safety. She was reelected. She probably will continue on with the case, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere because you cannot have all of these things have to wait until he's done. And he's going to be president for the next 4 years. So the federal cases aren't going to go anywhere ever at all. That's going to be dropped. The state cases Yeah, those are dropped. Those are done. Over.
Yeah.
And so the state cases, we'll see. They're pushing to have them drop. I think, Bonnie Willis. Wait, you said Bonnie or Letitia?
I was
Letitia.
saying Letitia. Fonnie got reelected
Oh,
too
but I was talking about Bonnie. Yeah, Bonnie.
But
Okay, so
Don,
no,
but
my
Don,
whole
hold
thing,
on.
Bonnie Willis.
Don,
That's
hold
my
on,
bad. But
baby.
Letitia James.
in New
Yeah,
York.
Don, listen to mamas.
yeah,
You saying 4
yeah,
years. We're about to go into a dictatorship. We're about
yeah,
January 20th, whatever this was. We are about to go into the first stages of what's about to become a dictatorship. Now, that was also a
yeah,
part of the conversation of Project 2025. He he he
yeah,
just he just spoke this morning about him having he playfully talked about a third term.
Right.
yeah,
We
yeah. Oh, oh
But
my!
what,
Talking
but
about
what
that,
are your
and
thoughts on
y'all.
Letitia himself?
So, okay, I have two things. So, Letitia James, yes, I'm very concerned, but I think Letitia James is dogged and going to continue on regardless of the threat. Remember, Letitia James is in New York, so it's loud here. I thought you were talking about Bonnie in Georgia. But James has been aboard in her investigation, so let's hope that she continues on. Maddie, and let's hope that she is not harmed in this process. All right, and
Yeah.
that the threats, don't into fruition. Okay. So, as it relates to a dictatorship, I believe that we're going to be in something that, if not a dictatorship, borders on one. Remember, he has all three branches of government: executive, um, legislative,
And
and
judicial.
the judicial branches, and he has all three of those. Congressional, the legislative branch, we're not exactly sure yet. We're going to see, but it's looking like, unless something has happened when I was in this conference, for the Congress to go towards Republicans, or towards Democrats, and I would be wrong. But he has all three branches of government. So yeah, we're going to be in a dictatorship. Now, here's what I have been saying. I think that he is from what happened in New York with Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and he's going to say there is a precedent for someone who's in elected office to serve more terms. Either it's a state or federal or whatever constitution, right? And he is going to say, I did not have two consecutive terms. And so my terms were split. It would be my two
Yeah.
consecutive terms. So I deserved one more term. Maddie, you're
Yeah.
smart. I've been saying that, and I think that's what he's going to try to do.
yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully his health will fail dramatically.
Or girl,
dramatically.
or the Simpson prediction.
Right. And that won't happen.
What's the Simpson prediction?
That he dies.
Oh, Craig.
I hate that those
Uh,
this might be really dark, Don. But listen, I really hate that those Iranians didn't take him out of here. They had that assassination attempt.
But Craig, I do believe that all of that was
Yeah.
staged. I believe that all of that was staged because he came up and he had his fist.
No, I'm talking about the reason. Do you think the Iranian was staged, Don? I don't think the Iranian was staged.
You guys said something about the Iranian thing a little, Maddie. What did you guys say about the
but
Iranian
this is
what?
the thing. But Don, Craig is talking about the
three Iranians that just tried to
assassination attempt. But here's the thing: because he's gone does not mean that the ideology is gone.
Yeah.
It does not mean that they won't feel the seat with someone else.
They'll still proceed with the agenda, but no one can be successful at MAGAism, if you want to call that, as creator of it. No one is as dynamic a figure. Especially if you look at J.D. Vance, who's his vice president. I mean, he has as much personality as a stick of butter, but he's smart. And so they'll continue on. But look at all these people he's putting into place, as you guys mentioned. We have all of these. We have some run-of-the-mill, normal Republicans. Okay, he may not like Marco Rubio, but he's kind of a normal Republican. And then you have, a Fox News weekend morning host being nominated to be the secretary. And then you have Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, who is, on the extreme end with Marjorie Taylor Greene. What? And then you have, who plays. But here's the one thing I haven't seen, again, since I've been in this conference, I haven't seen all of those brothers. Well, I don't even call them brothers. All of those black youth, right? All on the stage. Where are their appointments? Where are their nominations? Where?
Right.
right? He
Byron
don't care about
Donalds.
them.
Where's Candace Owens' appointment? I don't
Yeah.
want to hear from none of
So-
you. Can't say it, done, but I can say it. I don't want to hear from none of them niggas. Hard G, hard E, hard R.
Yeah.
But you're right, Don.
Fair.
I hadn't
Yeah.
even thought about that. Like, he's appointing all of these people, but he's completely overlooked all those black people that were riding for him.
Yeah. He might get to them, but I mean, he's all the top people at the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, the Attorney General, all that, all those, you know, those are white folks.
Yeah.
Right? Loyalists.
Yeah.
Right? Where are their appointments? They may end up being ambassador to, ambassador to Ghana. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They may be ambassador to KFC, goddammit. Don,
This is the FAFO, the F around and find out.
Correct.
And that's a lot of people,
out.
especially those people whose family members are now being deported, and they're thinking, "Oh no, he's just going to deport the criminals." What we folks on was like, "Oh, okay."
You know what we're gonna be saying over here? You know what we're gonna be saying over here, Don? Get him out!
What?
Get him out of here! Adios! Adios, amigo!
You guys have to do this. Saying, "Hey, help me! Come to my rally, fight for me." This is what I'm going to be doing.
Right. Adios. Listen, I told my brother. My brother is married to a.
That's what I'm going to be doing.
My brother is married to a Cuban American woman, and my sister-in-law is Cuban American. I told my brother, if I find out you voted for Trump, I'm gonna be the first one on day one calling down there. Get those motherfucking children out of here. Right. Don, I know you're outside of this conference, but I do want to ask you this last thing. I keep saying it's my last thing. The last question, so Don can go back in the thing.
10 minutes late for my section, but go on.
Okay. There's been a lot of conversation around how black men voted. There's a lot of wrong information where people are saying that so many black men voted for Trump, when the numbers have come out that the majority of the black men who did voted for Kamala. I think it was like 72% or 70-some% like that. I just think that as black people, we got to stop perpetuating that. I think the biggest problem, I personally think that the biggest problem with black men is that not enough of us were registered and actually voted.
Yeah. Look, that sentiment though, and it's real. And maybe many of the people who said that they, were supporting Donald Trump didn't vote, but I know that is real. And look, I think black men, to me, when it had been 13, 14, and maybe 18 or whatever, it wasn't as big as people thought. But that's still problematic that we live in a country where 21% of African-American men, 79% did vote for Kamala Harris, but 21% voted for that. And they make excuses for, why they aren't voting for a black woman. Look, let me look in the camera. Black women have had our back and our ass for our lives. They are your mamas, your grandmothers, your sisters, your wives, your daughters. We stand on the shoulders of black women. Now, you can vote who you want to vote for, but if there was a sensible Republican in the race, I'd be like, okay, I can understand this. But you have a convicted felon who says that they can grab whatever they want, who incited an insurrection, and you're going to vote for them over a competent black woman. That is an issue for me. I don't know if we need to perpetuate that. Look, you can believe whatever you want to believe. I think that we need to start educating people on the issues and on history. We need to start teaching in schools. We need to start teaching media literacy so that folks can realize that what's real and what's not. These black men co-opted by the same media ecosystem as the white men who have become conservative. I had black men out when I was during my country who were saying, I didn't even realize that I was being co-opted with Republican and right-wing talking points because I was just sort of being fed it every day. And it was site where there are no editorial rigors, constraints, or anything in those things. You can just spout what you want. You can, you can talk about pandemic, you can be a non-vaxxer. No facts don't matter. And so we need better media literacy and better government and politics and teach the civics, open the schools. Okay. That's what I feel that we need to do. And again, I think also the failure too, part of it, I don't know if it was even candidates so much. It's the Democratic Party. We need to start I'm not a Democrat, but the Democrats and sensible people need to start fighting for issues that resonate with people. And some of those issues, by the way, I got to tell you, for members of the LGBTQ plus community, some of those issues, and fully so, but it turned off a lot of voters because they believe their words. I'm just analyzing it. Don't shoot the messenger. They believe that they were over-ending on some of those issues, especially when it comes to pronouns and some of those things.
But Don, I talked about this shit 150 million times about those goddamn bricklayers going down there in the bathroom with those full beards and those long ass goddamn ponytails pulled to the back and those beards. I say, ma'am, listen, we know that you are a ma'am. We in the community, we know that you are a ma'am. When you step outside your door, niggas gonna see a beard and that ponytail. They gonna think you Hulk Hogan down there in that bathroom, standing over the sink, clipping your toenails in the fucking sink, and the media is gonna take that shit and run with it. And the biggest ones that was doing it was the white girls. Those white girls was the biggest ones doing it. But we all suffering from it.
But to your point, Don, I was actually at the gym yesterday. I had a whole conversation with a friend of mine, and he said one of the ads that Trump ran that really
it was that.
It was one that said
that ad resonated with the most of almost any ad in political history.
Yeah, it was the ad that said, "She's for them and they, Trump is for us."
Right.
Yeah, that's the one. That was the one that resonated. And let me tell you, I would be asking people like, "Hey, how do you feel about the election? Going to win? Policies are you voting on?" They would start talking about stuff, and then they would bring up that trans issue time after time, and I had to set them straight on it. They'd bring up, the gay issue, or I had to set them on that. I would say, "Well, you guys are demonizing Kamala Harris for that." Okay, fine. Part of what you're saying is not factual, but let me tell you, that is a Trump policy, and they wouldn't believe in that. So I would show them the evidence. I'd show them the articles.
I watched every single one of your videos. Listen, I so enjoyed that tour that you did. I watched every single.
I'm gonna keep doing it.
We coming to see you in LA. We gonna make some time to come out there and see you in LA because
Don lives in New York. He just in LA for this conference.
What you doing?
Yeah, I'll be back. The Spotify is here in the LA, and then I'm going back to the New York with the Spotify.
Oh, you going to New York,
right?
Okay, well I'll be in New York. I'm gonna hit you up. I'm gonna text you because I'm gonna be in New York on what day? The 23rd.
Yeah. So look, when I pointed at you and you were talking about those men in beards, I thought you were going to say men in beards going to the bathroom and doing other. That happens a lot.
Yeah, and they do. They do a lot of shit, and they use that as a lot of propaganda.
Not real. That's wrong. I'm talking about men who don't identify as gay, but they get in the bathroom and you're like, oh, what you? Oh, wait.
Yeah, but they did do that, Don. But it was a lot of that bullshit going on with those clock monkeys. It was a lot of clock monkeys that was sitting up there screaming out that they was trans. And it's like, and listen, everybody does not fall under the goddamn trans umbrella. Bitch, you are a porch monkey. You need to take one big razor and get you some salt and rub it on your face and get that shit off of your face and tell those people that you're a woman. Because I don't know what you is on the inside if I can't see it on the outside. And I know the trainees is going to get hot and mad and angry at me because I'm saying this, but it's just some real ass shit. Y'all, we can't tell people how we feel visually on the inside and they supposed to see that. Bitch, you look like Hulk Hogan. Yeah. You are giving Hulk Hogan in the bathroom.
I wanted people to know I was talking about men on the DL. That's what I was talking about. I wasn't talking about that.
Oh, okay. You talking about them? I'm talking about those ones that did.
I'm talking about men on the DL.
Fuck that. I'm talking about those ones that identify. Because there was those girls that identify as transgender women and walking their ass in there with those goddamn long ass Santa Claus beards talking about they women. I don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah. Well, that was an issue, and also another huge issue that I think pushed it over educated women is that honestly, they don't want their girls competing against trans people in girls' sports. They just don't want it.
How many damn transgenders in sports? I didn't even like PE. I failed PE in school. That's why I'm fat now. How many damn transgenders is in the damn sport? How many, Don? How
That'll
many?
affect such a small percentage of the
That's
population.
very tiny percent of the population. And then when that strong ass bitch went over there and beat that woman up, and she had 2 drops of testosterone in her system, and beat that bitch up, they ran around the country and said that woman was a whole man, and that was a real ass woman. She was born
That was a woman,
female.
right? Yeah, that was a woman. And again, they use that though. But here's the thing: they are better at political messaging than liberals, Democrats, center, left, center, right folks. The right wing, the Republicans are really good at messaging, and they keep it simple, very simple, right? People wear it on their hats. It's a slogan you can wear on your hat. Build a wall, something that you can wear on your hat. She's for them and we are for you. It's very simple messaging. And sometimes, look, they will message with things that they don't believe in because they know that it's political. It will get them elected. I think that Democrats need to adopt some of that.
I do agree with that it is messaging, but I also think that the overarching thing is America is truly just racist to its core. I think America aspires to be the land of the free, this balanced place, this fair place, this just place. But I think America aspires to be all of that, but she is the complete antithesis of that. And I think the truth is this country is so racist, and at the end of it, I think a lot of this is about preserving whiteness, because when you look at removing these immigrants from this country and having those children down in cages when he had his first term, and they talk about this mass deportation now, and even shooting and killing unarmed Black people, I think, and then this whole repeal of Roe versus Wade, all of this points right back to white superiority, white supremacy, because the Census Bureau will tell you by the year 2040, white people will be the minority, and they don't want that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you're going to have a minority rule, and as I said, if you voted for the MAGA movement, if you did against everything that our people fought for, civil rights, not only for Black people but for women, Roe v. Wade, for immigrants, and brave, everybody created equal. We want equity, and so you voted against all that. So congratulations. You're going to F around and find out.
They bring it back, stop and frisk. They trying at least.
Yeah. I got to run, y'all. I love you guys.
I love you,
Maddie,
Don.
when are you coming to New York?
I'm coming to New York shortly. I'll tell you, because Trent just told me to shut the fuck up over there. So I'm gonna text you and tell you when we coming. And then I listen, because we're gonna have to slip away in the nighttime, honey, to get us something to drink.
Yes, and I know, Maddie, people spout off all the time and they say things in the heat of the moment. I know that you fight for your community. Nobody can tell you because you say things that other people cannot say because you are a member of that community.
Correct.
You can say trainee. You can say trainee.
No, don't get Don in trouble. Don is a nigga.
I don't feel like
don't get Don in trouble.
I don't feel like Don to be right in there with
Don at. Don't get Don in no trouble.
And Don, let me tell you this: it is popular hot ass gossip, because you be fucking up the name of our show. Okay, it's popular hot ass gossip.
I'm gonna text it to you so you have it. I'm
gonna text it to you so you have it in your phone. Okay.
Don is
when I say let me let you speak to my big brother.
Excuse me, Don.
Do you hear this, Don?
Craig, Don is married.
What?
I know Don is married.
Don is married, Craig.
I know he's married. Yeah. Don, when I come to New York, I'm gonna hit you here.
Y'all see this, right? Y'all see it. Look at this.
I see it.
I'm married too, but I'm polyamorous.
But I'm gonna say this to you, Don. I know I said this to you on the phone a while back, but I'm gonna say this to you publicly. My heart changed for you when you did the Red Table Talk. Remember I said this to you on the phone that day?
Mm-hmm.
And when you did the Red Table Talk that day, and you said, I talk about this all the time amongst my friend circle, when you talked about because a lot of people are in the comments now. Well, he's married to a white man. When you said on the Red Table Talk that day, my heart changed for you because it was like I was thinking, you know, in that same direction of, well, he's not for us. He's dating white men, da da da. But when you said when you climbed in your career, there were just not a lot of us there, and those of us who were there just simply were not out, and you were not willing to go back into the closet. And I can tell you from my own experience now, I feel the same way. Now, I'm not saying I'm dating anybody white, but I am saying that I understand what you were saying because it does seem to get a little more difficult as you ascend in your career and you become more public and you become more out.
Craig, let Don go.
Yes.
Damn. Craig,
Yes,
let
but you
Don
also
go.
have to remember when I came out publicly, Craig, it was 2011. It was a different time. We didn't even have same-sex marriage then.
Yeah.
And people were like, honestly, I know people are going to get mad at me. I got tired of people saying that they couldn't take me home to their mother. They couldn't tell me whatever. And then, 3 years later, 5 years, family, and they'd go, I'm so glad that I dated you because this is black men. Like I dated black men. So don't get it twisted, okay? So when I would inevitably come back to me and say, I'm so glad that I dated you because I would never have come out to my family. I would have been in the crib. And guess what? It is okay now. So, but I didn't, look, I go to Thanksgiving. I just went to my husband's aunt funeral. We had in my wedding, we jumped the broom, which is an African tradition, and we had an Irish blessing. And so that just happened to be the person that I fall in love with, black man. But it was just timing. It didn't happen for me. If I fall in love with a black man, then I would have fallen in love with a black man. But I don't think that we should be dictating. You can feel a certain kind of way about it. But just because I have a husband of a different ethnicity does not mean that I'm not for my people. I am a
That's
black man first. As you said at the conversation, Maddie, I can pass as a people think I'm straight all the time, right? I don't know how they do because I'm gay. So I don't know, but I pass and I also pass so I'm black first. Okay. That's
Right.
what people see. I'm a black man. And I fight for black issues and I also fight for LGBTQ.
Right.
I'm black first, and then all the other things. That's just who I'm married to or sleep with. But this whole package that you see is a black man. All right.
All
So don't get it
right.
twisted.
Don, carry your ass in there and fight for us here. We can't be there. We too hood.
No. You're too hood.
It's-
I could be there.
Bitch, listen.
But
I got
thank-
one of these though.
Thanks for being here, Don.
Let me tell y'all. Can I tell y'all? This Spotify, they got a whole lot of money. Look at these white people. Look. This is how they get
Don,
down.
listen, I know they got
Free
money.
drinks. It's like
Tell them that
it's
we
a
want a
whole thing.
podcast. We need a popular hot ass gossip podcast.
look, look, it everywhere. You got some free food over here.
Oh,
It's all
yes.
free. And then you got the Spotify Hall. I mean, they do that. They taking pictures of us.
Don, see, I should have been there. I'd have been in there with you. I'd have been your date.
Free
I'd have been your
swag
date.
over here.
I'd have been your sister date. Been like, listen, let me come here and tear this bitch up. Hi, everyone.
Right.
Hello.
Right.
And you
I'm
know
the
why I
TA.
kept looking back on the podcast when I was you guys? I kept looking back because my swag bag is back there, and I don't want anybody to steal it. Back there in
Just
the
because
corner.
they white don't mean they don't steal.
Hello, swag bag.
Listen, just because they white don't mean they don't steal. You see, they did it with the election.
Look,
Right.
countries. I'm just saying.
Well, thank you, Don, for being here.
Don, we
Check
love
this out,
you.
check this out. Hold on.
Okay.
Ready? Look at
Let's
this. Look
see.
at this, brother.
Hey,
Come on,
hey,
you ready?
y'all.
Take a smile. Oh, come on. Do a thing. Ooh, I'm not supposed to be taking pictures. Oh, okay. Get yourself. All right, come on. Thank you. Nice to meet you. The head of security said, I'm not supposed to be taking pictures. These folks in these streaming spaces, they're not like us. Like, I don't mean that in a pejorative way, but you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It is people, different backgrounds, mostly white folks who've gotten into these spaces before us. It's not a lot of us here. And so, and it's like a lot of young people. And they're like these like young podcasting streaming stars. But it's so interesting to walk through a room and people are stopping me for selfies and they're all looking at me like, who the fuck are you?
Right.
Because I'm like, I used to be on the CNN. You might not know me, but I was somebody once. Kidding.
No, listen, it's one
All
thing
right.
I want to say, and then I'm gone because I know Craig will hold you.
Yeah.
It's when that what's that lady, that cute girl who she said, Don, we gonna do this on Black History Month. We gonna do this,
Simone
Don.
You talking
Sanders.
about
We're gonna talk
is
about
he talking
Omarosa.
about
Simone
She said,
Sanders.
she said,
Simone
Simone
Sanders.
she said
Sanders.
during Black History Month, Don. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. You want to talk about this during Black History Month, Don? All right, okay. We not about to talk about Omarosa during Black
I
History
love
Month.
Simone Sanders.
That was Simone
And
Sanders.
you know,
Yeah.
Omarosa is, she's so mad at me. She won't even talk to me. She used to be like my biggest every time. I'd say, come over here, take a picture of it. And look here, if something like that had happened to me and I'd become part of, I think that's a cultural moment because it comes back at the beginning of every Black. So when shit like that happens, you have to lean into it and you have to have a sense of humor and laugh. And she should just, take it in
Child,
stride
they
and
gonna find her
go with the
ass
flow.
down there at the. I done said this years ago. They gonna find that bitch down there at the bottom of the Chattahoochee River. So we ain't worried about if she don't speak no more. They gonna get her, and she gonna keep telling all the Trump secrets. That bitch gonna be down there chained up, honey, like Army Star at the bottom of the Chattahoochee River. Bye, Omarosa. Bye, girl. Bye,
Maddie, you're gonna love you guys, okay? If I don't see you before Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. And don't be
Thank you,
starting no
baby.
political fights at Thanksgiving. I doubt you have MAGAs in your family, but happy to you guys.
Well,
Thanks for
she
having me
almost
on.
had
It
one. Her
was an
brother.
honor.
No, I don't, because they all getting deported. His ass too.
Bye, Don.
Don, I love you. I'm
Thanks
gonna
for
text
having
you
me on
later.
that too. It was an honor to be on. Have me back. Okay,
I love
see
you,
you.
baby.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.